The next thing we're going to implement is the ability to get the timesheets for all the users. So if we look in this screen, we can see that this is where a user would come to see the timesheets for the different users. So here we have James Anderson, right? He's submitted his on the 15th and it was approved on the 17th. And this is for the week of November 11th, right? So the status is approved. Here we have one that was submitted, but it's still pending approval. So the user here would have to come in the UI and hit approve. And then we have another one pending. So this user hasn't submitted yet and they have to submit it. And then here's, the screens for the configure timesheets. So that's what we built. And there was some functionality that we didn't implement, like the ability to pause. So, and then, the ability to set reminders. So we want to remind people like on a Friday at 5 p.m. that they should submit their timesheet before they sign off for the weekend. Or if they finish on Thursday, we would put on Thursday. And then here, they're going to be able to specify the minimum hours worked for this. And they can select a list of users as well. But we're going to be working on this. So we need a way for the front end to get the timesheets. All right, so let's open our solution here. And we have timesheet configuration app service right here. So let's use Copilot to help us write some code. So I'll give it some references. Timesheet configuration app service. Timesheet. But before we do that, let's just start with our interface. So we'll need a timesheet app service here. And we're going to need a few things. So the first one is we're going to need to be able to get the list of timesheets. And I can see there's paging. So on here, this makes sense because we're going to have a lot of timesheets eventually. So paging would make sense. So we would want to implement that. So we can just go look at like another class like iProject app service to see, all right, what that looks like. I can copy that now. Actually, I'll use this one because that one's a bit more up to date with the approach we're using. And now we need to define a DTO. So we can say timesheet list DTO. All right, add this, can create this class here, create type. And now, we need to fill this in. We'll also need an endpoint to allow the users to submit their timesheets, right? So we can have one here. Task submit timesheet. And what would this take? Well, probably the start of the week. So week, start of the week here for when they would submit. And then from that, we could figure out, okay, they want the next, right? We're submitting all the entries in the next 7 days. So that's our interface. And the next thing is that we need is the actual entities for this, right? So in the last video, we created the timesheet configuration, and we have the timesheet already that we created, but it doesn't have much. So one thing we know we need is it needs to be associated to a user. So we'll do that. User FK. And then, yeah, we know we need the start of the week. So what week is this for? That's important. And we need to know the list of time entries that were submitted for it. So we'll add a list here, time entries. Can just say submitted time entries. Made a typo there. Let me just entries. Okay. And now in time entry, we need an association to timesheet. So let's add it here. Public timesheet. We could say submitted to timesheets, but I don't think that's necessary. Yeah. And we could just add the timesheet ID. Timesheet ID. Okay. So that's okay. And then, yeah, we need the various dates. So submitted at public daytime, approved at, and we probably actually want to store who approved it because multiple users can have the approval permission. So that's always good to keep track of. Yeah. And let's add the foreign keys here. Approver ID. I will get rid of FK. That shouldn't really be necessary. Okay, and then public. Add the user ID here. And now we need the status, right? So this is what I have to figure out is if I'm going to create entries, like create a time entry for this, create a timesheet for this. Like if every week I will run like a cron job, that's going to go and create all the timesheets for my users. Or do I just figure out if they should have a time entry, timesheet? I think what makes sense is to preemptively create all them, because otherwise we'd have to go check like all the timesheet configurations each time we would want to retrieve this, and we'd have to get the list, like the ones in the database and then the ones that don't exist but should exist. So it'd be more simple if, yeah, we just had a cron job that was responsible for creating all the actual timesheets and just putting them as pending. Then that way this this is like just querying the database. But then that means, yeah, we could have now an enum for the timesheet status. Timesheet status. All right, so let's say first state would be pending, submitted, and then approved. Great. Now we add that status there. Okay. That's looking pretty good. So we have submit timesheet and get all. We'll now need approve timesheet. And yeah, the start of the week, not really necessary. We need the actual ID of the timesheet. And we can use entity detail. Well, let me just look at reference another class to see how we're doing it. Yeah, we use entity detail for such actions. So we'll do that. Entity detail. Entity. Okay. And yeah, we could now implement this. Can you add fields to timesheet list detail based on the timesheet class? Let's see how it does. Pretty good. Okay. Right, so I have to move that here. So move on its own. And yeah, I'm just going to bring this over to our shared project. So both are able to reference it. So I'll bring it into, what is it called? Core shared. Yeah, there it is. All right, timesheets, move it there. Okay, now it likes that. And yeah, I have the user ID, but not the username. So that's going to be not really great for the front end. So let me just see something. Time entry detail. Yeah, I'll just put the string user email and then the approver email. Yeah, I'm using the email because the name is not always set when people set up their account. So the email is a bit more, is a required field. So that's always going to be set. Okay, so now we can just move this to a separate class. Add this. And now we have to implement our service. So let's come here. Timesheet app service. Okay. And now let's see if ChatGPT can implement this for us and write some tests. So I'll give it the interface and giving it a few references. I'll give it client invoice app service as well, because this has like examples of how we're getting paging, like how we're using paging from the database and stuff. And it has other endpoints for uh, performing actions on invoices. So it'll be a good reference, and then I can give it some test files. Well, I'll give it another one here, which would be pretty useful. Uh, and I forgot something, so we would probably want another one called task create all timesheets for week. Yeah, so this is going to be called by some probably cron job that would run maybe every day, because timesheets could be created like at any point. So we would want to run it every day to see if there's any that are just missing. But I don't know if that's fully necessary because, if they create a timesheet configuration, the next thing we would have to evaluate is like, oh, do we have to create a timesheet right now? So knowing that, we could just put a to do in our timesheet configuration app service here. So when they create or edit a configuration, we'd want to trigger creation of weekly timesheets. So we could trigger that through a background job. Probably wouldn't want to do it on this because this would be being called by the front end. And we wouldn't want to have to go and create a bunch of timesheets because then that would slow down the API. So we'll come back here. We'll just write a to do. Okay. That's looking pretty good. Okay, the next thing is we can ask it now. Can you implement a service for the timesheet app service with all the methods reference, and then also create a test class for it to test everything. Okay. And then we'll ask it to make sure to reference the other included files to know how to approach it. And I should probably give it a bit more. So timesheet configuration, client invoice DTO, I think that's hopefully good. So we'll see what we can get. All right, let's just copy this over since it's quite hard to read in that small view. No, that's our test. So we'll copy the service. Okay. This is not too happy. I copied this in the wrong place. So this has to go in our app service. here. Okay. Oh, this is where I messed up. I did not create a get all timesheets. Okay, and then yeah, we can create all that. And we can reference this because I wanted something similar. Status filter. But this would be timesheet status. And then, yeah, I wanted to filter by the users as well. Filter by user IDs. And that would be a string, or sorry, long ID. So all the user IDs. Okay, so let's just ask it to regenerate. Can you generate it again? I changed something in my timesheet app service. Okay. Okay, so here we'll copy it now. It's done. Add all the missing imports. Doesn't like this. So yeah, that's, let me just go look at one of our other classes. Okay. Yeah, it's calling, for some reason it's not returning an iQueryable, but it's returning an IEnumerable, which is not what it should be returning. Why? Timesheet repository. Interesting. Why? where if. Okay. So maybe this is coming from a different namespace. Yeah. Why does that file keep closing? Okay, that's better. And now this is complaining, of course. This is complaining. They just don't have that right. User. And then here, T. Timesheets here. This is complaining. So the order by feels like it's not doing it right. Order by. So yeah. Kind of making up its own stuff. Filtered invoices. So we'll just tweak it a bit to be more in line with what we have. Filtered timesheets elsewhere. So here. And we should add, yeah, sorting, something we forgot to add. But I think if I go look here at get all timesheets, get all invoice input, I should have actually had that. So I'll just copy this, inherit from those. I should normalize, and we can have that. Get rid of this. And yeah, we'd probably want to just filter by the status by default, I think. Okay, so that's still complaining. Order by, order by. Status here. See if we can just use ChatGPT here to fix it. Really? So order by, this is ordering by a iQueryable of client invoices. This is doing iQueryable of timesheet. So yeah, I shouldn't need this. This looks wrong. This should work. Maybe I am importing from the wrong place again. So why does rewriter keep closing that? Okay, so that was it. Writer wasn't able to figure out the proper library I needed. Then here, yeah, user email. Now we can go user email address, get that, approve. It did not set the approver as well. Approver, email address. I can't remember if this is going to be an issue, if this is nullable, but yeah, we'll find out. So that's, oh, and we have to use this one. Okay, so that's looking decent. And yeah, this would actually not be null, so we can get rid of that. This is not necessary. Okay, that's good. And now we have, yeah, the timesheet, submit timesheet. Well, yeah, this, we would want users to be able to submit their own timesheet, but we're missing the ability for another user to submit another user's timesheet, which might be a possibility if, yeah, like the person goes on vacation or something, or just forgets, then an administrator might want to submit it. So we'll need to add another way for them to specify a user ID. Which probably we would just have another another method, and then we would add the permissions above that. And we have approve timesheet here. Create all timesheets for a week. So yeah, this gets the list of users. So yeah, this is entirely wrong. It's supposed to be using the timesheet configurations, not just getting all the users and creating timesheets for them. And then there's no check to see if these timesheets exist. So this could be creating duplicate ones. So yeah, did a pretty bad job at generating this. But we can work with that now. So we can also now copy our test to get that going. Okay, timesheet app service. So we will create that, copy this. All right, doesn't want to copy it. All right, third time's a charm. Copied the wrong one. No, oh no, I didn't. Okay, so we copied that. Yeah, and these tests don't look too great. So we're definitely going to have to work on this, but it's providing some good scaffolding. So yeah, we'll pause here, and then in the next one, we'll continue to work on this and use Copilot to help us write a lot of the code.